So here's something wild that nobody's talking about. This Sunday, 115 million people are going to be absolutely elosing out over the Super Bowl. Screaming, crying, throwing things at their TV. But there's this whole shadow population. We're talking millions of people who could not care less. And I mean, genuinely don't care. Not the performative, I am too cool for sports thing. Like, they see Super Bowl hype the same way you'd see a competitive cheese rolling championship. Just complete indifference. And if you're one of those people, you're not broken. You're not missing something. Your brain is just wired differently. And the science behind Wai-O is actually insane. Here's what nobody tells you about sports obsession. First of all, and this is going to blow some people's minds, caring about sports is not a default human setting. Your brain doesn't come pre-programmed to lose its mind over touchdowns. So what's actually happening in the brains of people who are obsessed? It's this crazy cocktail of psychology. You've got tribal identity, parasocial relationships where you think you personally know these players, spoiler, you don't. And here's the kicker, there's an actual scientific term for it, basking in reflected glory. Your brain literally gives you a dopamine hit when your team wins, even though you did absolutely nothing, you just existed on your couch in the right city, that's it. For people who don't care about the Super Bowl, watching this happen is like watching someone get excited about a random number generator. That brain trigger just doesn't fire. And that's normal. Your brain might just be playing on a different frequency. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. There's research from the Journal of Consumer Psychology that found something fascinating. People have completely different optimal stimulation levels. Some brains are like, give me all the chaos, all the intensity. Other brains are like, please, no, neither is better. They're just different frequencies, like how some people need blast heavy metal to feel alive and others prefer complete silence. So when someone says they don't care about the Super Bowl, they're not being edgy. Their nervous system might literally find 3 hours of high-stakes emotional chaos exhausting instead of exciting. You can't force your brain to enjoy something it finds draining. It's like being an introvert at a massive party. Some people get energy from it, others lose it. We're tribal. But not all in the same way. Here's something that sounds dramatic but is actually backed by science. Sports tap into our primal tribal instincts, like ancient in-group versus out-group stuff that kept our ancestors alive. The emotional response to my team won versus their team won, that's following the same neural pathways as literal tribal warfare. Wild, right? But this is the part people miss. Not everyone experiences that pull with the same intensity. Some people get their tribe from book clubs, or Reddit forums about mechanical keyboards, or Discord servers about niche video games, or literally anything that doesn't involve watching millionaires give each other brain injuries over an oval ball. They're not rejecting community, they just found it somewhere that doesn't require memorizing stats or debating whether that was actually a catch for 3 hours. The control freaks, and I mean that in the best way, let's talk about something psychologists call locus of control. Stay with me, this explains so much. Some people naturally focus their energy on things they can influence. Others are cool investing emotions in things totally outside their control. Think about watching football. You're screaming at the TV, wearing lucky socks, sitting in your lucky spot, maybe literally trying to manifest a field goal with your mind. But here's the thing, none of that changes what happens on the field. Zero, zilch, nada. Some people are like, yeah, but the journey is the point. And that's valid. Other people are like, why would I invest 3 hours of emotional energy into something where my effort has literally zero impact? And that's valid too. Want to learn guitar? Practice makes you better. Want to cook an amazing meal? Your skills matter. Want your team to win? Sorry, you're just a passenger on this emotional roller coaster. Neither approach is wrong, just different brain wiring. Plot twist, we're already drowning. Can we talk about something nobody mentions? Modern life is already sensory overload on steroids. You're getting carpet bombed with notifications, work emails, random texts about TikToks you'll never watch, political disasters, money stress, existential dread from doom scrolling at 2 a.m. This is especially true for highly sensitive people, which is apparently 20% of the population. So if you're watching this, statistically some of you are this. For them, Super Bowl parties aren't fun. They're 3-hour sensory assaults. The yelling, the lights, the music, the crowds, the constant stimulation. What's an energizing party for one person is a migraine-inducing endurance test for another. They might need 2 full days to recover from that much input. The uncertainty thing hits different. Here's something wild. People have dramatically different tolerance levels for uncertainty and unpredictability. Sports are built on uncertainty, right? That's supposedly the thrill, you never know what's going to happen. But for people with lower uncertainty tolerance, that doesn't feel thrilling. It feels like anxiety. They're not enjoying the suspense. They're white-knuckling through 3 hours of stress, waiting for it to be over. Combine that with the fact that the outcome literally doesn't impact your actual life, it starts feeling less like entertainment and more like voluntary torture. Same reason some people love horror movies, and others are like, why would I pay money to feel terrible? Different nervous systems, different relationships with stress that the circus makes it worse. And can we address the elephant in the room? The Super Bowl isn't even really about football anymore. It's this massive cultural production. The commercials people analyze like they're the Sistine Chapel. The halftime show everyone has opinions about. The themed snacks, the parties, the memes, the discourse. If you don't care about football, all that extra hype doesn't make it better, it makes it worse. You're surrounded by people having this intense collective experience, and you're supposed to perform enthusiasm, laugh at the commercials, have hot takes, care at the right moments, and it all feels fake, like you're an alien trying to pass as human by mimicking the right reactions. You end up watching everyone else get emotional over something that feels completely arbitrary to you, and that disconnect, it's not just boring, it's genuinely lonely. You feel like the only person who missed the memo on why this is supposed to matter. Sometimes the answer is just, I don't like it. But here's the plot twist. Sometimes there's no deep psychological reason. Sometimes people just don't like football, the same way some people don't like cilantro, or pineapple on pizza, or the color yellow, or country music. We've gotten so obsessed with finding neurological explanations for every preference that we forget humans just have different tastes. Mind blown, right? The person who doesn't care about the Super Bowl might be obsessed with Formula One, or Olympic curling, or competitive chess, or literally anything else. And that doesn't need a trauma explanation or a brain scan justification. The expectation that everyone should care about the same sport is actually weirder than not caring. Why people get so defensive about it? Here's what I find absolutely fascinating. The reaction people have when you say you don't care about the Super Bowl. It's immediate defensiveness, like you just insulted their mom. People get genuinely upset, and that tells you everything about how sports function as identity markers in our culture. When you say, I don't care about the Super Bowl, some people hear, I'm rejecting you, your values, your entire worldview. It's not about the game, it's about belonging, about shared experience, and maybe some anxiety that if too many people opt out, the whole thing loses its cultural power. Sports aren't just entertainment, they're social glue, a way to connect with strangers, feel part of something bigger. So when you don't participate, to them, it feels like you're rejecting the entire system. Every single reason is valid. Look, if you don't care about the Super Bowl, it could be any of these reasons. Your brain needs lower stimulation levels. You prefer investing energy where you have actual control. You're not wired for competitive sports. The manufactured spectacle exhausts you. Uncertainty feels like stress, not fun. You're already overstimulated by modern life. You find the tribal thing cringe, or you just find it boring. Period. All of those are completely valid ways to exist. You're not broken, you're not missing out, you're not being contrarian, your brain just works differently. The beautiful part. And here's the thing that actually kind of blows my mind this works. You can have 115 million people absolutely losing their minds over a football game, while millions of others are doing literally anything else, reading, hiking, sleeping, building Lego sets, staring at the ceiling, and we all coexist. Different brains, different preferences, different sources of meaning and joy. That's not just okay, that's beautiful. We don't all have to experience the world the same way. In fact, that diversity is probably the only reason society functions at all. So whether your team Super Bowl is life, or team Wake Me When It's Over, you're valid. That's it. That's the whole point. Different frequencies, same humanity. If this hit different, smash that subscribe button. Seriously, it helps more than you know. And if you want to support deep dives like this, join as a channel member. You'd be directly supporting this kind of content, and I genuinely appreciate it. Drop a comment and tell me, are you watching the Super Bowl or doing literally anything else? I'm curious where y'all land on this.